friends, and welcome back to my channel. I am Cher. Today I'm going to be talking all about favorite eyeshadow palettes for spring, especially Easter. We've got Easter coming in about 2 weeks. Yesterday was the spring equinox when I'm filming right now. Even though it feels freezing cold outside right now in Florida, it was down to 30 this morning. I'm like, where is our spring? But regardless, spring is on the horizon here, and so definitely am feeling very inspired by all the spring colors. I did a video a couple weeks ago, I think now, on favorite lip shades for spring, and I thought, you know what, in conjunction with that, I'm going to do an eyeshadow palette one. So if this interests you, go ahead and pop that subscribe, and we are going to get started. So I know I don't look very springish. I tried to go with my brightest color sweater that I own. Mother Nature did not get the memo that it is now spring. But I know I'm looking a little more fallish in this. I was trying to go for the bright yellow to at least do something springy, but it ended up looking fall. So sorry, I'm not quite as dressed for the occasion today, but we're going to talk about eyeshadow palettes that are perfect for the occasion. So let's get started. I'm going to be just pulling out a whole range of really from ones that I have, that are my favorites that I think are great for spring. So it will be some drugstore, some high ends. I'm starting to dabble in indie, but like all different kinds from different places and different colors. So let's hop in and see what we want to start with. We're going to kick off the very first one. This is one of the first like colorful palettes I ever purchased years ago, and I used it for absolutely like everything, all of my creative looks. This is what I used in the beginning. This is the BH Cosmetics Take Me Back to Brazil. Now I know, okay, you're hearing Brazil, so you're thinking this is more of a summer palette, and yes, it makes some great summery looks too because it's like all the colors of the rainbow. However, I always whip this one out when I need these blues and purples, and they really actually create more soft, brighter, softer pastel colors than they do like bright rainbowy summery colors, in my opinion. So I consider this more of a spring palette. It's always my go-to, at least for some of my more like pastel-y springy looks. I love it. It really does make some great formula options, you know, but see how it's very pastel. Like you can't beat some of the like Pepto-Bismol pinks in it. And then like I'll show you, you know, just watching a little bit. So see those like very pretty, vibrant, they're vibrant pastel colors in my opinion. So yes, I love this one. So kicking it off, that's number one. I don't know if I should rank these or not, or just, I don't know. I don't know if I could rank them, to be honest, because I have a lot of favorites. And it's like, I don't want to offend any of them. Right, next we have the Morphe Maddie Ziegler collab, and I love the looks in this one. I mean, come on, that screams spring, right? You can see my pink's a little messed up there on the outsides, but such pretty like pinks, this very pigmented yellow, the blue in there. I have made some really pretty spring-like looks. So that is another great one. You can almost make like fall out of it too over here. But honestly, like I usually pair these with a color. I love like the contrast of that. So another great one for spring. And then palette number 3, this is Juvia's Place. And if you have not tried Juvia's Place, I really love them. They are so affordable. Sorry, you can hear my dog yawning over here. He's like, this is so boring, Mom. They're so affordable. I don't know. Do we consider Juvia's Place a drugstore brand or just medium end brand? I don't know. I don't know if it's considered drugstore or not, but it's a very affordable brand, but still has such great quality. I love the pigment in all of their palettes. What I love about them, I believe they're African-American owned. So what is awesome about them, okay, being a makeup artist myself, I'm always trying to make sure that I have the right shades for women of color, and it can be really hard to find. And so Juvia's Place is like the one brand that I know I can go to and find like the best shades for women of color. but they're not discriminatory for just women of color. Like, I use Juvia's Place for Me all the time. I love them. And I think it's especially their eyeshadow palettes. They're so ultra pigmented and a great color shades for such a good price. So I really recommend this brand. And especially if you are a person of color, I think like you will love their brand. But anyway, so this is the Violets palette. And so I just, you know, with Easter, you're going to have like the purple. Love this one. It is just a great like violet purpley shade. So if you want to go like all purple for Easter, this is your palette. However, I do have another one that I love that has some of those purpley looks. This is going to be more of a lilac, the lilac shades. So let me grab that one real quick. Here is the Huda Beauty Lilacs palette, and I use this for bridal a lot. Anytime a client wants more of a lilac purple color, I go to this one. And now these look like they have other colors in them, but it's just sort of like a chromey tint is what it is. But yes, they make some beautiful soft lilac but shimmery shades. So a really perfect one again for the purple Easter, but it's going to be a little bit of the lighter colors of purple. While we are on some of my bridal palettes, I figured I'd bring out a few more that are, I use these for bridal, but I think they're also great for spring. Okay, so this is the Jaclyn Hill Morphe collab. I know there's some uproar with Jaclyn Hill lately, but I mean, this is your classic, like this classic palette. It just makes every look. I love it so much. It's great for bridal because of a lot of these like pinks and neutral shades, which will be good if you want a soft pink, you know, color for Easter too. But then you got these like bright blues and greens over here too. So I really think that this will be a good one for Easter. I feel like I'm looking at like Easter eggs in here too. And then in one of my hauls fairly recently, it might have been all the way back to like Christmas time though, I picked up the Huda Beauty nude palette, which I absolutely love. This palette. It is now one of my absolute favorites and my top palette probably for bridal makeup. Look at that. Isn't that not gorgeous? It makes such stunning wedding looks, but also this is so beautiful for spring too. All the lilac-y and pinky shades with a great mix of mattes and shimmers. So had to mention that one too. And then I also recently, I think on that same haul, I got the Anastasia Beverly Hills Soft Glam palette. Finally, I mean, like, how did I not have it before? But again, you're working with beautiful pinky shades in there. Like, I don't know. Does this count as Easter? This may be more summer and almost into fall. I'm trying to decide if I should count this as spring or not. It's one of those that I think works for like every season. Every season. So I'm like, I don't know. Should we count this one or should we not? It's great for bridal also. Yeah, I'm going to try to decide whether to include this in the video or not. So if I end up keeping it, y'all let me know what you think. And then next, still looking at a pretty affordable one. This is a messy palette of mine because they always break, and that's ColourPop. This is the Sweet Talk palette. Yes, the Sweet Talk palette. Here it is on the outside. But it has more of those peachy corally shades. I mean, sometimes I think of peachy corally for summer too, but I think this is so spring. And the shimmers are coming out of it because you guys, I don't know about y'all, but every time I order ColourPop, it comes broken. They do not package their stuff well. And it always comes, like, this was like my third time, I think, sending it back too, and it's broken. And I just live with it now. I just have to, like, be careful how I handle it. But the colors are so pretty. It's worth it to me. Isn't that gorgeous? But I love that color story. Definitely a great one that will be good for Easter if you want more of the corally peachy shades. Okay, and then another one that I have, this is more an MLM. So you may not be as interested. I know my viewers are not always... It's harder because, you know, you have to access a person to like get a hold of these eyeshadow palettes, but If you've been around, you know that I have done a lot of Arbonne. I was selling it for a little while in my practice. I'm not selling it anymore at the moment, but I still love a lot of the products. It's just a very clean brand. And this is one of their main eyeshadow palettes. This is the volume 2. They have a volume 1 that's more like fall colors, and then this is volume 2 that's more, cool tone colors. But I like to think of it as like the spring one. So very pretty, like pastel-y shades, and I really like it. I've used it in bridal too, but then all of these pastels just make for a really pretty spring look. This one I wouldn't say is as super pigmented as their fall one is like really pigmented. This one's a little more on the subtle side. You got to build the colors, but I think it makes the perfect spring look for people who are not as into like really wild colors. I think, your everyday woman that just wants like to feel really pretty in like pastels, but not like just ultra crazy makeup, I think this is the perfect palette for them and why it has sold well in an MLM. But anyway, so this is actually honestly one of my favorite palettes. I've used it on clients and on myself and work on it often. So I figured it was still worth a share, even though it is an MLM. Okay, now the indie brand that I recently played with, I was trying to like start dabbling in them more, and I tried out Adept Cosmetics, and this was my first time, and I had a whole video devoted to testing that one out. So if you want to check out the full review on it and first impressions, you can, I'll link it for you here. But okay, while I think this could work as like winter as well, I think it still makes a fabulous spring palette, and here is why. These gorgeous pastels right here, basically this whole top row, and even a little down here with, your silvery shimmers. But all of these pastels, you guys, I have made so many looks from this palette since I got it, all creative looks, but they're all those like very vibrant, pigmented, shimmery pastel colors in some of my like collabs. It's like, this is my go-to palette. It's called the Minka palette. I'm going to be honest with you. I am pretty sure this might be my favorite palette of like all time. Because, I mean, I haven't done a lot of indie brands and some of those more like shimmery ones like this and the ultra like colorful and pigmented color stories to test it against yet. So this was just my introduction to it, and I was just like blown away. Like nothing compares to this now. This is so stunningly beautiful. It makes the most amazing colors. So I think this would be so perfect for spring too because of these shades, but I may pull it back out for the winter one. So by the way, I am planning to maybe do this every quarter. I think it would be fun. There's gonna be several different series I want to do where I have like some quarterly ones and monthly ones, maybe even weekly videos too. So you can expect to see another one of these in the summer, another one in the fall and winter, and we'll just keep like rotating. Okay, and another one that's gotten a whole video devoted to it as well. I would be remiss if I did not mention the Natasha Denona. This is the new, gosh, what was the name of it? Oh, y'all, I already forgot the name of it. Mini Pastel Palette. And so this is a recent collection she came out with. It had a highlighter with it too, and it was just really like showing off those like duochrome, multi-chrome features. Loved this one, but isn't that perfect for spring? Now you're fairly limited on your color choices. I mean, you're basically going to either do some bluey greens or the pink somehow with a pop, but I think that just looks like a decorated Easter egg there. I think that is just perfect for Easter. And if you want the full swatches and, review on it, go check that video out too. I will link it here for you. Now this one got messy already, but you may have, you may recognize this from a BoxyCharm unboxing. This was a fairly recent eyeshadow palette we got. This is Wonder Beauty. This was my first Wonder Beauty product. I had really been wanting to try them. I will be honest, I was not as impressed with this palette as I wanted to be, but it definitely has some really pretty Eastery colors. And look at the shiftiness, isn't that pretty? This color, I think it was, right here is definitely stunning though, and a perfect Easter shade. But what I don't like as much about the whole palette is it's just not very pigmented at all. You know, so it takes a little bit of working with. So I think that, again, this will be a good one for your very subtle people who don't like a lot of color and everything, but they just want a really pretty, you know, color shade. And if you look at this palette, like, it's a really beautiful palette. Look how pretty it is and so Eastery. It's just working with it. Yeah, I'm like so about it. So, but it looks gorgeous, right? And so I thought that would be still a good one to consider in the Easter pile here. Another one that you might think of more for winter because it's a lot of blues, and you're also going to be like, really? But y'all, this is one of my favorite palettes of all time. This is what made me love the Jeffree Star formula too, and that is the Blue Bloods palette. Okay, and I may again pull it back out in the winter. We'll see. But I just think that it has great colors for Easter. The blues in it, like anytime I need to make a look that has a lot of blues, I always use this palette, but it's got some soft pinks and greens too. So yeah, this is great for like Easter blues, I think. So I'm including it for Easter because I think you need some of these blues and greens for an Easter look. And then a palette from BoxyCharm also in the most recent box. I will link that here. It was like one of the best boxes ever. This was from the Luxe box, that Pat McGrath palette. And this is the Celestial Nirvana eyeshadow palette, Nude Allure. You guys, I've just been so in love with this. The formula is amazing, but I just thought it was worth a mention because of the pretty pinks and purples in it. It's like mostly all shimmers, but I'm a shimmers girl. So I think that would make some really pretty Eastery looks too. I debated on whether to include it as well, but I've come to love this formula so much also. I decided I'm including it. Then I have a palette that you might not have heard from because it's a fairly small brand. I was gifted this from the brand Gabellous, and they have all kinds of cool things. It's just this very like swanky girl shop. I don't know how to explain it, like queen energy, you know. But anyway, they gifted me this palette. What is the name of this? I can't remember if it had a name because they only have like 1 or 2 palettes. I don't remember the name of it, but look at all the colors you get in that. And I've made a lot of awesome creative looks with it, and it is just a really great palette to have. And I like the formula. It works well. There's a lot of mattes and shimmers. So I don't know. This could be summer, like a summer palette too. You got a lot of bright, I'm just thinking with like the oranges and the, you know, the sun. The look of the sun is up there, the sunshine in that top corner up here. But overall, like you've got a lot of pastels and bright colors. And again, I just feel like I opened up a carton of colorful Easter eggs. So I felt like this deserved the Easter spring category personally. Lots of like pastel bright colors in there. So that's everything. We had 15 palettes in all. So I'll probably call it like the top 15, my top 15 spring palettes. Something like that. But anyway, about 15 palettes, all different color stories, all different price points, you name it. Let me know which ones were your favorite ones. And also, if you have some favorite spring palettes, let me know which ones you think is a perfect spring Easter palette. And hope you enjoyed this one. Make sure you are sticking around for my summer one. So I will be bringing you a summer list, maybe of lips again, but definitely eyeshadow palettes. Top summer eyeshadow palettes. There were a lot of palettes that I had that I was like, is it spring or is it summer? And I think I've saved them for summer. So I'll bring you that video as well when it gets closer. Also, let me know if you'd be interested in a favorite bridal eyeshadows. You know, just kind of going through all the palettes that I tend to use typically in my makeup practice. All right, guys, so that wraps it up. Make sure you pop that subscribe button if you enjoyed today's content. Have more like this in the future, and I will catch you on the next one. Bye.